Welcome back to the Dr. Group YouTube channel. Today I have a very special friend and guest. Her name is Linda Kordich. She has spent 50 years in the juicing world. She was married to none other than Jay Kordich, the juice man, for 36 years. She was also instrumental in bringing juicing to more than 400 million people from their Juice Man TV shows and information that aired for more than 11 years. She also produced and co-wrote all of Jay's books and programs throughout their marriage. She and Jay wrote a New York Times #1 best-selling book called The Juice Man's Power of Juicing, as well as being responsible for selling close to 30 million juicers across America and Canada. How many people has that helped? She's now continuing the legacy Jay brought to the world with her new husband, Carl Loveday, promoting their new online community and wellness groups, as well as continuing to teach and inspire others to learn more about the restorative powers of juice therapy. Thank you for joining me today, Linda.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Group. Thank you. Well, that's impressive. Is that really me?
I know. I remember watching all those commercials on TV, and I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. I mean, I think the majority of the people, let's say over 30 maybe, I mean, if they haven't seen Jay the Juice Man with his gray hair on and his eyebrows on TV, all of those commercials, you know, he is the father of juicing. I mean, I've been studying natural medicine for over 20 years. Juicing is a vital part of healing the body. And he's the one that brought, you know, juicing and the technologies of juicing to modern day America and the world for that matter. Today, though, there are so many juicing videos, so many people out there thinking they know everything about juicing online. And juicing is more of a science. And you've taught me a lot about juicing. You and Carl have taught me a lot about juicing. And today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 things not to do when you're juicing. And these are the things that people should not do when they're juicing, when they're learning how to juice. And this is some of these things that you're going to be covering today are things that a lot of these big juice companies are doing and they shouldn't be doing. And a lot of juice therapists maybe are teaching people how to do and they shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Start with #1. What is the #1 thing that people should not do if they're juicing?
Okay. One of the things, and you're right, it's like a wild, wild west out there on the internet. It's crazy. There's really good stuff on the internet and there's, you know, sort of like new stuff on the internet. So one of the things that I'm so excited about doing with you today is sort of sharing our juice therapy experiences over the past, you know, God only knows 6 decades that Jay and I worked together, which, by the way, he died in May of 2017. And so, you know, that's why Carl and I are together, is to continue this amazing teaching, this amazing man that, you know, Jim Carrey did a wonderful episode on In Living Color years ago on Jay. And if you're interested, you should look up Juice Mania with Jim Carrey. And it's really funny. And so that's how so many kids got to learn about the Juice Man. But anyway, I'll get focused on what we want to talk about today, which are the 5 don'ts. And these aren't like, don't ever, you know, do this. This is just what a juice therapist point of view is doing. This is what Jay did most of his life, ever since he had cancer in 1948. And so he had to be very strict about his juicing. So the first thing we want to teach that most people aren't teaching, and this is actually very important, is when you're juicing at home, you don't want to combine fruits with vegetables, because vegetables have vegetable oils and fruits have fruit acids. And when you mix the two together, they can sort of, they knock each other out. So what we have learned through Dr. Walker and, you know, Arnold Ehret and all these other great juice master teachers that Jay actually studied under in the 1940s and 50s is that we want to keep the vegetables separate from the fruits. it's much easier for all these nutrients to get to the body. All the enzymes, all the compounds, all the vitamins and minerals, all of those things together work better when they're combined properly. Just like, when you talk about food combining, you don't want to mix protein with starches. Well, there is in juice therapy the concept, and not just the concept, but the actual theory that you want to keep your fruits and vegetables separate. However, there's one thing that we want to add, and that is that these neutral apples, golden delicious apples, red delicious apples, not the tart apples, but these neutral apples work extremely well with vegetables and with fruits. So you can actually blend those together. Let's say you want to do a vegetable juice drink, and your children don't really want to be drinking something that's going to be really harsh on them. This is where apples can come in, because apples have malic acid. They also have wonderful enzymes in them that help bring these juices alive. So that's the most important thing. So let's say you want to do vegetable juice drink. We want to do, let's say, celery and parsley and carrot and apple. That's just a basic drink, or just carrot, spinach, and apple. One of the other things that I'll just briefly talk about is that you want to use the carrot as a carrier. Carrots have been sort of poo-pooed in the last 15 years, and I was like, where is this information coming from? Of course, we know now that's not true. But people say, oh, you don't want sugars in your juices. Well, carrots are just an amazing carrier. They work beautifully with apples and other vegetables, such as the dark leafy greens. So let's just know that we want to make sure and keep the vegetables with the vegetables and greens, with the apple, or fruits with the apples. So that's the one. Okay.
So you're saying there's no other fruit that you can use besides apples?
That's correct. That's correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that goes just not the 67 years of Jay taught juicing, but also even further back, Dr. Walker's theories and other great master teachers of juicing. Yes.
Okay, great. So that's number one, folks. What's number two?
Okay, number two is, please try not to drink more than 32 ounces of vegetable juices or fruit juices at a time, because you want to drink them slowly. Just like Jay used to say, you want to almost chew your juices, because we want to get the saliva going, the ptyalin and the amylase. You want to get those enzymes in the mouth, going. And so that can help distribute these nutrients even better. So you slowly juice, slowly drink your juices. Don't do them too fast. And, if you are juice feasting or you juice fasting, of course you want to do more than 32 ounces per day, but not just at the same time, and slow down your consumption of the juices when you're drinking, because you're really swallowing and well, you're not really digesting, because juices digest themselves. But these nutrients are powerful, and they can get into your bloodstream immediately. So you don't want to do it too fast.
Yeah, I always tell people to make sure they chew their food until it's a liquid before they swallow it. It's very important for everything to mix with the natural enzymes that you secrete in your mouth. So that makes total sense. All right, number three.
Yes. Number three, try not to store your juices. Now, this is very controversial, and I know that people don't like to hear this, but any real good juice therapist will tell you this. Try not to store your juices. Okay, let's face it, most of us are drinking juices from, Whole Foods or the health food store. We just grab it and take it. But I just want everybody to know that when you're buying those juices, first of all, you're paying a lot of money for those juices. I mean, I really recommend juicing at home, but let's say you do buy those juices at the store. Those juices have been flash pasteurized, because in the mid-90s, Odwalla actually had a real problem. A couple of people actually died from drinking juices from a store because they didn't flash pasteurize the juices. Now, that's a good thing. People aren't going to get sick, because you see the bacteria grows on these juices if you don't flash pasteurize them. And because they're being distributed all over the country, right? I mean, these people that are in this business, they want to make sure people are protected. The downside to that is that when you flash pasteurize things, you are killing a lot of the enzymes, which are really the catalysts that make everything come alive. This is what Jay used to teach so powerfully, that these enzymes, which not many people are talking about, but basically what they are, they're in living foods. And when you put them into juice form, what happens is that the oxidation, once these juices get into the glass, you start they start dying off. and bacteria can grow in them. So it's important that you do get these juices in your body. And I'm not saying not to drink the juices at the health food stores, because it's certainly better than bottled juices or any kind of other sodas that you could possibly be drinking, because you are going to get the benefits of all those beautiful pigments and some of them, and definitely the minerals and the vitamins. So we just, from a juice therapy point of view, it's important that we drink our juices immediately, and not to store them in the refrigerator, and just to drink them right away. And you will notice a big difference in energy and also in the way that you feel throughout the day.
That would just be amazing if we had a way to just have fresh juices, on order all the time. I mean, but the thing that people always talk about is I just don't have time to juice. I just don't have time to juice and drink, my juice.
Yeah, I know. It's true. I mean, even, when we get busy, it can be crazy, but, Carl is always really good about making juice. And I, of course, I'm making juice. So we don't live on juices, we're definitely, we're not drinking 100 ounces of juices every day, but we definitely do drink 32 ounces. And that's the magic key, by the way. If you really want to have juices start to affect your body and really affect your life, 32 ounces is the key. Not 8 ounces or 16 ounces, 32 ounces is the key. Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, number 4.
Well, we don't want to be drinking green juices alone. And this is so controversial, I can't tell you. Green juices is a big, big thing right now. People are drinking a lot of dark leafy green juices without adding anything else. They're adding things like citrus, which actually burns the green juices. So it's something that a juice therapist would never recommend, and that's to be juicing a citrus with dark leafy greens. And does it taste good? Yeah, it tastes really great. But there's other ways you can get around that. For example, when I talk about not juicing greens alone, I'm talking about things like, let's say you want to do, just spinach with parsley and a little bit of lemon or lime. This is so hard on the kidneys. It's very hard on the body. And what we want to do with juicing, the whole idea of juicing is to get the nutrients into the body so they can feed our 60 trillion cells immediately. But if it's too intense, it can cause digestive issues, flatulence, it can cause diarrhea, and it can be hard on the kidneys. So, and sometimes the thyroid because of the goitrogens and these natural juices. So we really recommend balancing out juices with your greens. Oh my God, it's so important to do parsley and cilantro and spinach and kale, and all these are wonderful, but we want to mix them with carrots and maybe some apples. Or let's say you want to do something like celery and cucumber. That's different. Those are not the dark leafy greens. They're not going to trigger the intestines to start, stimulating and eliminating quickly. So we want to balance out our juices. I'm making 75% of our juices with the carrot and the apple and 25% with the greens. And that's really the basic recipe that we recommend.
So when you're saying don't drink greens alone, what you're saying is don't just juice spinach by itself and drink it, or don't just juice like all different types of leafy greens or something like that, like kale and chard and stuff like that. Don't just do one particular thing. Well, is celery considered a green? Because that's a big craze right now.
No. Celery is not. Celery and cucumber are not part of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about dark leafy greens, and you can even say that about wheatgrass and other really dark. More like, for example, like parsley is not really a green, it's an herb. So we have to be really careful with these dark leafy greens because they're incredibly detoxifying. They can detoxify the body immediately. And this is why we say it's best to blend them together so the body can absorb them. The carrots are wonderful carriers, for these dark leafy greens to get into the bloodstream. It's really important.
Okay. Yeah. And last but not least, number 5.
Oh, this is a biggie. It's the magic of citrus. Oh, Dr. Group, citrus is so important to drink every day. Of course, we drink it every single day in the morning. That would be grapefruit juice, orange juice, tangerines, pomelos. These are incredibly good for the body. But billions of people around the world are drinking the wrong kind of citrus juice every morning. Like if you go to a restaurant or even when you buy it at a store, they're not being juiced the proper way, which is so important. I can't even begin to tell you. You see, when you cut open an orange in half and you do it with a hand reamer, or you have a little electric reamer and you hold on to it, all you're really getting is the sugar water from the orange. You're not getting those incredibly powerful bioflavonoids. The family of bioflavonoids are located just beneath the skin and in between the orange. It's the white, what they call the white pith of the orange or the grapefruit, the pomelo. Now, tangerines are a little bit different because they don't really have a lot of the bioflavonoids in them, or the pith, so to speak, but they're still there. You just can't see them as much as you can with these others. So what we do and what we've taught for so many decades is never juice your citrus with the skin on it. There's volatile oils in these skins. In fact, Jay used to say that munitions like fireworks are made from the actual oils of the oranges and grapefruit. So we don't want to put that into our body, but what we do want to do is we want to peel the skin off the oranges and the pomelos and grapefruits and peel as much as the skin off as possible, leaving as much as the white on, and then you cut your citrus in pieces and you juice, and you will have the most incredible juice experience of your life. This juice will be thick and creamy like a 50-50 bar, and kids will love it. And the most important thing is there's quercetin in this, and there's the most powerful nutrients in these citrus juices that will help us not to get a cold or the flu or any other flu, so to speak, that's out there. This really helps us. And the other last thing I wanted to say about it is that Jay used to talk a lot about citrus. He was a massive fan. I mean, when we were traveling and we didn't have our juicer, I mean, he would literally eat 40, tangerines. And this man never had a cold. He never had a flu. He never had a stroke. When Jay died at almost 94, he never had anything wrong with him. No diabetes, no heart disease, and, no cancer, nothing. And so he just died from a small leak in his intestine that was undiagnosed for many, many years. So anyway, to get back to the citrus, please try to juice every single day your citrus in the morning. It's wonderful.
Now, can you let the listeners know if there's any citrus that can be mixed together, or if they should just juice one citrus at a time? Because I'm really big on the fruit in the morning too, and that goes back to Arnold Ehret and people, because
absolutely.
First thing in the morning, if you look at the way the digestive system works, after it heals and replaces everything during the night, is the best thing you can put in the morning is water, oxygen, fiber, enzymes, and that's usually mostly contained in fruits.
Yes.
There's a lot of fruit practitioners that really encourage eating fruit first thing in the morning, but not mixing the acid fruits with the sweet fruits or the sub-acid. There's a way that you can do that. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I totally support this. Jay and I were massive fruit eaters in the morning. Like if for some reason we're in a hotel, we're traveling and teaching, we would definitely be eating fruit in the morning, because fruit digests themselves. You could be eating the fruit and it's pre-digested. These juices, of course, are pre-digested as well, but fruit will digest itself. It's incredibly good for us. And yes, I would keep the citrus alone. But you can be juicing, let's say, a grapefruit, tangerine, and orange together. Absolutely, they're all acid. Yeah. Even though it might not taste a little as sweet as the kids like it. Grapefruit juices can be a little bit bitter. But then again, bitter is really good for the liver and the gallbladder.
Right.
So fruit is it.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the top 5 things not to do if you're juicing. Right. So I know that you've been working on compiling all of Jay's videos, and you and Carl have also been working on a lot of different courses now, as well as challenges. Can you let everybody know what you're working on right now? Oh,
God. When Jay left this world, I mean, it was amazing, because we had hundreds of audio and videotapes that had never been shown to the world, just stored of 6 boxes that were just hundreds of them. And so when Carl and I got together, of course, Carl has a huge background in juicing. He's a raw food teacher. He's a juice enthusiast. And so that was one of the things that brought us together. And so we both have decided that what we wanted to do was take this beautiful 67 year experience that Jay shared with the world, all of his experience in juicing and teaching, and condense those. And so that's what we've done with our juicing masterclass. But what we've decided to do over the summer, and it's going to be launched here any day, is the 7daywellnesschallenge.com. And this is a challenge that people can take for 7 days to learn how to juice effectively and to eat well. And then there's also these small little meditation tapes that we've created to kind of get you in a good place. And it's free, and we want to offer that to the public. It's just an amazing love project of ours, and I'm just so happy to be able to share it. I mean, what more important thing can we do on this earth than to share our knowledge with people? So, and to get those colored fruits and vegetables into our bodies, it will change your life.
Yes, and one other thing, make sure that if you are juicing, you are using certified organic.
Yes, it's very important.
Don't have access to certified organic, go to your local farmers markets, get to know your local farmers. You know, a lot of them don't use any type of chemicals, and they just can't afford to go through the organic certification. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best in all your endeavors.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Group, and thank you to all your listeners. I really appreciate the opportunity.